the business savvy singer. Hey there, and welcome to the Business Savvy Singer podcast. I'm Dr. Greta Pope, and I'm so glad that you're here. This podcast is dedicated to vocalists and to those who love them. We interview singers who are working professionally to get a glimpse into their lives and celebrate their personal journey to success. Join us weekly to learn how to move your career forward. Get tips and recommendations to help you realize the career of your dreams. You're listening to the Business Savvy Singer podcast, brought to you by theprivatemusicstudio.net, providing online education to build sustainable careers in music. Also, Eternal Wolf Music, producing audio for every need. And Greta Pope Entertainment, for the finest in entertainment. Hey there, and welcome to the Business Savvy Singer podcast. I am really excited today. I know I tell you that on every podcast that I'm excited, but I'm really excited today. I have a wonderful, wonderful, legendary voiceover artist with me today, Mr. Tim Dadabo. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Hello, Greta. How are you? It's so nice to be on this with you.
Oh, I am so delighted that you have agreed to do this with me. It's so exciting. You know, people ask often about voiceover work, and it's such a great area to work. So what's very interesting to me is that I happen to know that you started off as a singer. So,
Right.
I want you to tell me a little bit about where you're from, how you began singing, and then how that morphed into voiceover work for you.
Well, I come from a family of singers. My
Okay.
mother was a brilliant singer.
Okay.
And, being that we were raised Catholic, we started singing in church. The whole
Okay.
family pretty much did, because
Okay.
my mom was the singer.
Yeah.
So not wanting to stay with just choir music and then, of course, choral music once I got to high school.
Yeah.
I started a rock band, and I was the
Wow.
lead singer for the band.
Cool.
Upon getting out into the world, a friend of mine was in the audience, and he came up and said, "Dude," he goes, "are you doing jingles?" And I said, "What'ls?" He said, "Jingles." And I said, "No." He said, "You should be." He said, "You sound like every singer of the band you guys copy."
Wow.
So he goes, they could really use somebody like you. So I went to Ron Steele, who I'm sure you know well.
Yep, I do.
And I talked to him for a long time, and he set me up with the guys from Comtrax.
Great.
And I went in there to make a demo. Well, I also happened to be acting the entire time I was singing.
Oh, okay.
I was taking a break from doing the jingle demo with Mark Ruff from CRC.
Okay.
And a creative director sat down next to us, and she kept staring at Mark and I. And of course, me, I thought it's because we were cute. Well, Mark's cute. I'm not.
Well, that was a reason too, huh?
So she finally said, she goes, "You have such a nice young voice." She goes, "Would you mind reading something for me?" And I said,
Wow.
"Oh, okay." And she handed me something for a Sears demo.
Wow.
And I looked at it and I said, "Is this a song?" And she said, "No, honey, it's a voiceover." I said, "A what over?" And she said, it's the speaking part of the commercial. I said, "Oh, okay." So I read it poorly. And she said, "Okay, that was good." She goes, "Now like you're talking to a friend." I said, "Okay, so this is acting behind a microphone." Mm-hmm. She said, "Exactly." So I read it again. She goes, "Fantastic. Let's go record it."
Oh my gosh. And the rest is
So
history.
I went behind Mike with Mark, as the guy. She said, "Can I borrow you?" And she auditioned me. And she said, "That was amazing." She goes, "I'll let you." She goes, "I can't believe you've never done this before." She said, "You should be."
Wow.
And after she walked out of the room, Mark looked at me and said, "You've never done a voiceover before." I said, "No." He goes, "Dude, F the jingle shit. You should be doing this."
Wow. Wow. That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
Wow. So you
that was a
continued.
crossover.
I know that you've done some wonderful, wonderful things. It is so exciting to look at your website. And we certainly will
Thank you.
include that stuff in the show notes so people can go to your website.
Okay.
Just fantastic. So tell me, what was your day like before COVID-19? What would a normal day have been like for you?
I got to say, other than, having to be booked in a actual studio, Greta, I've been recording from home for probably 20 years.
Yeah.
Because of proximity to the city, first and foremost. I mean,
Yeah.
I live way outside of the city.
Yeah.
So I was one of the first knuckleheads to put a recording studio in my house.
Wow, that's great.
And my agent was like, you can't have a recording studio in your house. How are we going to get stuff? I said, I will email it to you. And
great.
slowly but surely, of course, as we all know,
Yeah,
that
it
became
caught
the norm.
on. That's right.
But, so yeah, before COVID-19, I was recording, and the reason why I did this is because my what's next, as you and I spoke about in our last get together,
Yes.
my what's next was promo and
Yeah.
TV narration.
Yeah.
So very few of the studios, unless you're in Los Angeles, very few of the studios allowed you to pay for they weren't going to pay for a studio. You damn well better have a studio in your house, and it better be broadcast quality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So slowly but surely, I started to build my own studio. So that part hasn't changed. What has changed, of course, for all of us is things have slowed down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're a staunch union person.
Yeah.
They are using more non-union talent and financial
Yes.
core.
Yeah.
And the producers themselves are doing the commercials.
That's right.
So
That's
that
right.
part has changed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so things have slowed quite a bit.
Yeah, and that makes it challenging. So
Yeah.
so talk to us a little bit about what the studio in your home is like. Is it in a separate room? I mean, just exactly how have you set it up?
Okay. Yeah. Each of my spaces, my house in Florida and my house here in Chicago, especially this room, this is built out like any booth would be. I literally had them float the ceiling, float the walls. What that means is they decouple them, so nothing is touching the rest of the house.
Okay.
I'm also down in my basement in Chicago, so I have a concrete wall this way, a concrete wall that way, and these walls around me are all floated.
Okay.
Meaning they're super thick. They have 4 pieces of drywall on each side.
Right.
Then there's an air gap.
Yeah.
Then there's the exact same wall on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember Joby Cerny?
Yes,
Cerny American?
absolutely. Yeah.
That's Joby's door right there.
Oh my gosh.
When he sold, I bought his doors
Oh wow.
because they're ridiculously heavy studio doors.
Yes.
So yeah, this room is built out. It's pretty much the same thing down in Florida. In Florida, I have a booth. Here, as you can see, I share the room with everything.
Yeah.
So I have to cut the speakers when I'm recording
Yeah. Yeah.
and then record.
Wow. That's great.
Is that you receiving messages?
Yes, it is.
Okay, very good.
It is. Ding.
Like,
yes.
Am I getting dinged on this poor person's show? Okay.
But that is fantastic. It's very exciting. Very
Right.
exciting. And it's so wonderful that you're able to go between your two homes. And that is something that Tim and I were talking about just briefly before we began the interview. I also have 2 homes, and I've been wondering how to do that.
Right.
How to
right.
be able to have, 2 studio setups that are going to, produce the same quality sound and so forth. So
Yes.
that's pretty exciting.
And just so people know, especially if you're newer or new to this business, it doesn't have to be this. I did it because I'm a nerd, and because I do work from here a lot, and it's got to be broadcast quality.
Yes.
And most rooms will have to be, but at least when you're getting started, a quiet space in your home,
Yeah.
like the best place to go is in a closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you've got a large enough closet that you can walk in, you can go to the local U-Haul, buy brand new moving pads,
Yeah.
and hang them all over the room.
Yeah.
Get a good mic.
Yeah.
I
Very
can't say
important.
I can't emphasize that enough. Get a good mic. Even if it's just a good USB mic, but get a good
Yeah.
mic. Put it on a stand, and then whatever you like to read from, and record with whatever you're comfortable with. And, today's recording software is all really pretty clean enough that that's doable.
It's great. I have so many friends that read audiobooks, and they do them from their closets. And, it's like just being in a closet all day and reading, so it's a good thing.
Right.
So now I know that you do recording from your vehicle. I was talking with you the other day, and I understand that if you're out for a bike ride or you're out for a run and you get a call from your agent needing you to do something, you get into your car and you record it. So tell us a
Right.
little bit about that.
Well, the microphone that I'm talking into right now this is just my USB mic. This is what I call my on-the-go mic and my podcasting mic. It should sound pretty darn good, actually.
It sounds great.
So this is a Rode or a Rode product, and it's a USB microphone. There are many out there. Again, if it's $100 or under, it's probably not a good one. It might be okay for auditions, but again, it's got to sound good enough. So yes, what I'll do is I'll hop back in my car. Cars are tremendously acoustically sound.
Okay.
So, because with all the padding inside of them and with all this sound baffling that we all require now,
right.
I literally just set this tripod mic up on my steering wheel, hook it up to either my iPad or my iPhone, and I use a program called Twisted Wave.
Okay.
And Twisted Wave is phenomenally easy to use, to edit with, and then it also allows you to either email or upload to your favorite, Box.com, Dropbox, whatever you use, and or an FTP site, and you can upload as a wave, as an MP3, any way you got it, you can send it to them, and it sounds. I've never gotten a complaint.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, that's very good to know.
Right.
Very good to know. So what kind of advice would you give to people wanting to get into voiceovers? Young people, older people, whatever. What kind of advice would you give them?
Wow. It's oddly that as we are talking about this, I'm beginning to write a book.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm just starting to write a book.
Okay.
And while so many of us, or so many of the voiceover people around the nation, around the world, have written so much about being the artistic form of it, I'm writing more from the business aspect of how to get in it and stay in it.
That's great. That's great. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember a gentleman named Larry Moran, the funny voice man.
Yes.
Of course we all do. One of the things he said is, remember that there's two words in the words show business.
Yeah.
The second one is just as important as the first.
That's right. Just as important, if not more so. Absolutely.
So things as you know, Greta, things have changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And where I used to be able to literally meet my clients and or prospects eye to eye, door to door with my stuff and play it for them, I became a tremendous salesman at getting my foot in the door in the first place.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
And you still have to do that, but you still have to do it virtually.
Yeah.
You have to know your brand.
Yeah.
What is your brand right now? That doesn't mean that can't change or morph as time goes by.
That's right.
But what is your brand right now? Mm-hmm. What do you see yourself how do you see yourself as a brand?
Yes.
If you've been blessed enough to get booked several times, what are you getting booked for?
Yeah.
That's usually your brand.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
I have a friend that, said, boy, they're always booking me as the Italian Dago guy. Why do they do that? Don't they know I got range? And I said, dude, what is wrong with getting booked as the Dago? I said, ride the horse until it's glued.
That's right.
So that's your brand. So we have to seek the brand and make sure that we use any means possible. And now, you're saying the younger people are terrific at being social and branding themselves socially.
Yes.
It might just be something that has nothing to do with voiceover. Voiceover just happens to be something you're into too, or breaking into.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch CBS Sunday Morning, but there was a young woman who started posting pictures of geometric pies.
Wow.
And they're so amazing that people are like, holy crap, you got to see these pies. Wow. She now has a book and has a bestseller.
Wow.
And she's branded herself in this way.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Okay, so what kind of voiceover am I? What kind of brand can I do? And what kind of stupid things can I do? Greta, I don't know how well you know me way back when, but my thing was, okay, how can I get in front of everybody's face and stay there?
Yeah.
So as soon as I met them, as soon as I did a session with them, I always made sure to have a leave behind. For me, because I have this unusual name, my demos were all called Dadabo by Dadabo.
I love it.
So I wanted a leave behind for them. And my wife said, she was a shrink at the time. And she said, everybody always grabs the bubbles on my desk. Maybe bubbles. And I said, wow, that's it. So I came up with Dabubble by Dadabo.
Wow.
And I had labels made.
That's great.
I used to get cases of bubbles and have labels put on them with my logo, my contact information. And I would leave it behind everywhere.
Great.
And before I walked out the door, people were sitting, and I'd be in the booth and they'd go blowing bubbles. And now I'm not just there. They put them in their purse and take me home with them.
That's right. That's right.
You know, I started including toys.
Yeah.
So people were giving these gifts to their kids when they got home with my label on it.
That is wonderful.
So those are the kinds of things that we have to look into.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What is your brand? Are you fun? Are you serious? Are you dark?
Yeah.
Are you goth?
Yeah.
What are you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
And brand yourself that way. Ride the horse till it's glue.
Yeah.
Always thinking about the what's next.
That's great. That is tremendous advice. That is tremendous advice. Boy, for my listeners, I mean, you know, these are truly pearls of wisdom. Absolutely. So tell me, what are some of your favorite voiceovers that you've done? What, like if you had to choose 3 top ones through all of the years that have been your faves?
Oof. Well, without a doubt, for those that are listening that are Halo fans, I'm the voice of 343 Guilty Spark from Halo.
Pretty exciting.
It's nuts. I get fan mail from around the world for that one.
Oh, that's great.
I've done multiple Scrubbing Bubbles, Keebler Elves, tons and tons of Raid Bugs. I am one now. And of course, I got to develop the Bad Apple for Apple Jacks.
Wow.
So it was Apple. It was Bad Apple. It was Apple and Cinnamon. And they hired a gentleman who was from Trinidad to do Cinnamon's voice. And of course, he was Trinidadian. Jeffrey, I don't know.
Great.
I don't remember Jeffrey's last name, but he was brilliant. And we used to play off each other.
Wow.
He was in LA and I was in Chicago. I got to meet him once.
Wow.
When I was in LA. And the funny thing is, he looked just like his character. He looked like a tall stick of cinnamon with dreadlocks.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. That's great.
So those are some of my top faves.
Wow. Well, I will say to my listeners, you have to go to Tim's website and check it out. There is just some fantastic things that he's done, and it's very impressive, and voices that sound different, and animation, and just all kinds of really neat things.
I've had one blessed career, ma'am. I surely have.
You have, and it's so impressive. So impressive.
I have one blessed career.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
You are truly legendary.
It's hard work, you know? It's always hard work. But it's fun work.
Yeah, it's fun work.
You know, you have to stay at it. And again, I still use paper and I write out my what's next.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Now, you told me a little bit about something that's kind of coming up next for you, in that you're getting back into singing.
Yes. I have actually. I did. I don't know if I sent it to you. I don't think I did. There's a gentleman named Doug James, and he has an entire slew of different bands under the Soundtracks of a Generation banner.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's got, he's got a Tom Petty band. He's got a Pink Floyd band. He's got a 60s soul band.
Wow. That's great.
And you know, he's got about 10 or 12 different bands.
Wow.
And ours happens to be Soundtracks of a Generation, 70s FM radio.
Wonderful.
It's all classic rock from the 70s. And, you know, I'm one of his screamers, which is what he loves.
Which is what he loves. Yeah, that's great.
Now, if this particular band has, at any given time, 2 to 3 guitar players, brass that comes up and on. It'll have a percussionist, a drummer, keyboards, 5 singers, so that we can step forward and back.
Wow.
You know, 2 women, 3 guys. And it's a blast.
Wow. So where can we hear that music?
If you go to Soundtracks of a Generation online, you'll see all of the bands that are there.
Wonderful.
And 70s FM is just one of them.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to put all of this information in our show notes so that people can learn more about you and can follow you and just be aware.
Cool. Thank you.
I thank you so much, Tim. Tim's name is Tim, and the last name is Dadabo. So if you want to check him out, go to his website, timdadabo.com. Fantastic stuff there. And we will, of course, put all of this in our show notes. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. This has just been such a delight and a pleasure and an honor for me to have you on this podcast. Thank you.
Greta, thank you too. I'm honored that you asked me.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, and wishing you much, much, much continued success.
You as well, my dear.
Thank
you as well.
you.
And all of you out there that are listening.
Thank you. Take care,
Stay
Tim.
with it.
Stay with it. That's right. That's right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. The holidays are coming up, and it's time to start thinking about gifts for those special people in your life. Do you know an aspiring instrumentalist or singer? Take a moment to head on over to theprivatemusicstudio.net and check out the many offerings. There are options for folks of all ages and experience levels. Put a smile on someone's face with the gift of music. The Business Savvy Singer podcast is brought to you by theprivatemusicstudio.net, Eternal Wolf Music, and Greta Pope Entertainment. Let us know if you know of a singer who is having great success in the music business. We'd love to share their story and their journey on this podcast. Send your emails to info@gretapope.com. We've had a great time with you today. See you next time on the Business Savvy Singer podcast. The Business Savvy Singer.